Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I'm actually going to be talking about some secret and unconventional ways to promote your books as an author. There are a lot of little ways, like I have had to market on a budget before, and therefore I've always had to think outside the box when it comes to promoting my books and come up with different unique ways of promoting and marketing my book. And also I hate being one of those people, buy my book, and you don't want to annoy people. I struggle to get readers and people to buy my book, and so I've often tried to think of creative ways to market my book, not just for the sake of staying on a budget, but also to get people interested in my book in a way that feels natural and not in your face and like a typical marketer. And I also can't ever afford to run ads, so I've had to think creatively outside the box, whereas other people would just run ads and call it a day. So I'm going to go over some methods to market your book that may not be mainstream or conventional, that will help you market your book more. I'm not promising tons of money or thousands of dollars. I'm not offering a class at the end of this. I'm not promising these will work. I'm not even saying they've worked for me in terms of actually getting a sale. I'm just saying these are the methods that I have used and that I hope will eventually come to fruition in the future. So let's get started. So the first method, and this is the method that you're more widely taught other than running like ads, is growing a newsletter. So basically there are like newsletter, what are they called? Newsletter platforms where they like host your newsletter or whatever, and they usually have a free plan that up to a certain subscriber count you can use their platform for free. So I started off using Mailjet, and it was like really cheap and crap, and like it wasn't good. So I switched to MailChimp until their plans changed, and it kind of forced a bunch of us to leave MailChimp, and so now I'm on MailerLite, and they have a really good system. I've integrated it with a lot of different things. I prefer MailerLite over everything else. So they do have like 1,000, like the subscriber limit is up to 1,000. So if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, you can use their plans for free, and that's what I do. And with them, you can have a pop up on your website to sign up for your newsletter. You can offer, reader magnet, which we'll get to in a minute. But basically, if you don't know anything about having a newsletter, it's kind of like an update to your readers on what you're working on, what you're doing. If you have a book release or you're preparing for a book release, a pre-order, if you need beta readers, ARC readers, anything to do with your books, you send them a letter, typically an email basically. And it's most people do once a month as the average. I do once a week just because I have a lot going on and it's just too much to just cram into a whole month, one monthly newsletter. And then you send it out, and you typically use that especially during your pre-order period leading up to a release and then following a release to keep up the hype for your book. Now this doesn't work as well as it used to because clicks are down. Like even I've noticed clicks are down. So typically you use a platform like we just discussed, like MailerLite, and you have their thing pop up on your website. So then when people are browsing your website, it'll pop up asking them to join. Now, why would people join? That's where the reader magnet comes in. So typically you offer a short story or a novella or a novel for free. A lot of people do the first book in the series, and then the next one's 99 cents, and then it keeps going and growing as the series goes, but that's a whole nother story about pricing methods, and it doesn't necessarily always work. But still, offering the first book in your series for free is a good idea, because then once they get that for free, they don't have to buy it, so it saves them money. They may get hooked in the series and go on to buy the rest. That's still the method that I use. I offer Hunter for free for my subscribers. I'll have a link in the description below. So once they subscribe, you give them a welcome email. It takes them through like any introduction you may want to do, like who you are, what you write, leading them to your website, your socials, the free book that you owe them, any other free gifts you want to give them, and so on and so forth. And then, like I said, every week or month, whenever you update your newsletter, they get the newsletters that you send out. It does take a little bit to kind of get used to the platform and sending it, but then how do you continue to grow and get subscribers and keep your newsletter up? Well, basically you join what's called book promos or newsletter swaps. If you have no money, you can find newsletter swap groups on Facebook. That actually does work. You can find them and ask people to sign up, and essentially you agree to share an author's book to your subscribers, and they agree to share yours to theirs, and it's a way to get eyes in front of your book. That's one of the best methods. It works really well. It doesn't help you grow your subscriber count, but it can help promote your books. And you set up a swap on the date that you're sending out your newsletter, and so on. If you do have some money, I would suggest investing in StoryOrigin or BookFunnel. I use BookFunnel. It's better than StoryOrigin. I've had a lot of issues with Story Origin in the past, but the way the platform works is you pay a subscriber fee every month or year. I do the year payment plan, and you join book promos, which work the same way, where it's like an author kind of hosts it and puts it together, but all the authors in the promo are sharing it to their newsletter. That is a requirement. You pick a date that you're going to share it to your newsletter, and then the promo is listed in the newsletter, and so every author in this is sharing that to their newsletter. So you're getting, if say you have a dozen authors in the promo, they're each sending that to their newsletters of 500 to 1,000 subscribers, and your book is in the promo, so therefore your book is automatically going to get promoted. This is where I earn the majority of my sales, anywhere from $10 a month to, like, I've had $30 to $40 to $50 a month before in some of the bigger months, and typically those are around holidays and stuff like that. Now the promos are themed, so like a lot of, like, you'll have like warriors, or, you know, dark fantasy, or, you know, epic fantasy, or fantasy with dragons, or, you know, sweet romance for the, you know, Valentine's Day, or, you know, whatever. They'll have all kinds of different themes for the promos, and you can only enter your books if they fit the theme of the promo. And those BookFunnel is really picky about making sure that you get clicks onto the promo, and that every author in the promo is doing their work. And that's where it's like, if your clicks are down and nobody in your newsletter is clicking it, like with me, I share it, I do the work, but nobody is clicking on the dang promo, and therefore my clicks are down, and it creates this like, oh, well, you're just, you know, riding everybody's coattails, so to speak, and therefore they think I'm not putting in the work when I am. So you want to make sure that you get clicks on the promo to make sure that you're getting eyes on it, and that you're putting in the work. Otherwise they'll ban you from certain promos and stuff like that. But that's the first method, is newsletters and all the things associated with a newsletter, which does include book promos. Second way doesn't really work that well, is just posting it to social media, like social media. Facebook in particular is the one I'm referring to that doesn't work anymore. We used to do like where you take over a group and you know, post games associated with your book. That still happens. It's just very, very rare, and it doesn't work for anybody except for like a few. But social media in general is another one. And so Instagram is a new one. TikTok is still around. BookTok and Bookstagram are still new. There is Threads is recently like kind of rising up, and I've noticed that some posts will get nothing, and I've had others get bigger than I've had on any other platform before, with tons of comments, and typically asking questions that will get engagement from either readers or authors are a good way to get it. And a lot of authors, I've noticed, respond better if your post has to do with talking about themselves and their books. It's kind of like a self-centered thing, but it seems to be what works. So if you can create those posts, either as a reader or an author, like, hey, post, you know, give me the links to your books, or recommend some of your books, or like show off your covers, or I did one was like show off all the book covers in your series, and that worked really well, and I had a lot of engagement on there. But you want to do posts like mixture, regular post for engagement purposes with your marketing, and don't do marketing as much where it's just constantly buy my book. For everybody, that's method is different. And this also kind of doubles up with physical posts, where you actually write something and it's more of a text-based post, versus Instagram with this, which has more picture-based ones, versus Reels, which can be posted on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Those are the three platforms that I post my Reels on. I think I do Threads too, but I focus on the texting, like the text one posts for Threads, which is like Facebook and Twitter kind of mixed together. Mixed together. But I've gotten way more engagement on there than Facebook anymore. So another unconventional method that I've actually kind of sort of recently discovered is this book reading app called Tome, and it's only for the iPhone. So I actually don't have an iPhone, so I have to use the desktop app, but it's basically where Book Reader is specifically designed for readers. But here's how you authors can utilize this to help promote your books. So when you go on Tome, you make a post, you can post a picture, you can give a link, and typically a lot of people do it to like post, like it's typically a lot of people do that. It's a reader-based app, so they are posting about the books that they're reading. They'll post a picture, they'll, you know, rant about the book, they'll try to add, like, my cousin and I did a challenge where we polled, like, she on that platform specifically polled an audience, and they voted for which book she wanted to read. And so it's just a way for book readers to connect about the books that they're reading, which most generally is mainstream, traditionally published books. But as an indie author, what I'm trying to do is get traction on there. One, because I am actually a reader, so I am actually reading a lot of these mainstream books, so I can connect with people on that. But then I also have post where I mention my book. I have the cover and the blurb and a link to buy it, which is a universal book link, so it links to all the places you can buy it. And they have, you can create, what are they called? They're like, not really shelves, but they're like different threads where you can theme it. Like a lot of people on this platform, because it's a reader-based platform, they'll do my current TBR, and so all their posts that are about their current TBR are in that thread, and in that category. And like I'm doing one for every month, so like all the ones from the January and what I read in January is in that folder. So, and then so on and so forth. And they have different ones, like you could do one for, like, say you read whatever X book by this particular author. What I did was I also created a Valiant series one, where they're all listed. It's there if you want to see it. And if I get, my plan is, hypothetically, if I were to get a lot of engagement, then if they became interested and found out that I'm an author, they could potentially check out my books from there. It's just an extra method where they're there, your books are there for somebody to find. Likewise, on the flip side of that, the Fable app is another reading app like Goodreads, and it keeps track of, it has graphs. I've talked about it on this channel before. I'll pop it up here on the screen. It was like apps that all writers need to have. And it keeps track of your reading streaks. It has lots of graphs. It's so much better than Goodreads. But they do have another section for your, like, your Goodreads shelves. It's kind of the equivalent of that, where it's like what you've already read in the past and finished in the past, what you're currently reading, you know, different things like that. But you can create your own, and I created one for the Valiant series, and it's there. And again, if anybody follows me and likes what I do as a reader, my book reviews and all my thoughts on all my books and all my reading streaks and posts and things like that, then they may be interested in my books as an author because of the kind of things I like to read, and therefore they can find my books. It's there and available. Another unconventional one that I haven't utilized as much yet, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out the kinks, and it's a bit bigger and a lot more effort for probably way too little of a return, is the Chapter Story app. I did a whole tutorial here about how to use that, and I haven't really done a follow-up video, but I need to, so let me know if you guys are interested in a follow-up video on how that's going. Trust me, I haven't used it very much lately. But essentially, it's like you can create your own interactive fiction. So hypothetically, if you had a big series or universe, or even a small one, or a romance, because the romances do really well on there particularly, you could create either a brand new story set in that universe and make it an interactive fiction on chapters, and then at the end of it, be like, hey, you know, this book is part of a larger series and is published. If you like this kind of stuff, you can check it out. Buy my books. This is where to find them. You can kind of link people back to your series that way. And if they're really good fans, if they really enjoyed that interactive fiction on the Chapters app, then it can link back to your other books. Or you could take one of your books, write an interactive fiction version of it, and put it on the app and do the same thing. So that's basically those methods. So another method is a YouTube channel. So again, that's what I'm doing, but my YouTube channel, as far as I know, hasn't actually generated me revenue or sales directly, but I actually do enjoy making videos around writing and reading content, writing and reading challenges, book reviews, writer react videos, you know, writing and publishing advice and things like this in this kind of video. So I do hope eventually it can lead to more sales for my books, but I do enjoy making the videos, and I do enjoy making this kind of content for all of my YouTube audience. It's just not the best method to promote your books, but it is an option. And most of the time you would be creating content kind of in and around writing or reading, and at some point you promote your books, or you mention your books, or your books are part of a video. One method that I found that is really genius is Bethany Adizada. She has a YouTube channel, and she has really, really good writing advice. Abby Emmons is another good one. Their writing advice is so good. Their writing and publishing advice. And they use examples from their books that they've actually written, and therefore, like with Abby Emmons, that's how I found her book, The Other World. I have a review of that book. I'll pop it up here on the screen, because I was watching her videos to teach me different things that I needed to know, and she kept using The Other World as her example, and I got more and more curious about it until I finally could not resist it anymore and gave in and bought her book, read it, loved it. It's a 5-star read, and here's why. But it's a good kind of method and idea. I just haven't been able to implement it as well. I don't know. I'm all over the place with my YouTube channel, and that could be part of the problem. But I've actually heard a lot of people talk about how you need to don't stop marketing your book. It takes several times where it's like people who see it aren't going to just buy it the first time, but like if they see it, you know, this is like the 5th or 6th time they've seen it mentioned, it kind of can remind them, oh hey, yeah, I may want to actually check that book out, or it may be like way down on their wish list, and they may eventually get around to buying it if they keep seeing it. I've heard that method talked about before, like in your newsletter. Keep promoting your books, and so that's why every once in a while I'll send out a newsletter. I'll just have my books listed at the bottom as a product, or I will just throw my book in there with the cover, the blurb, and all that stuff. I'll mention them in YouTube videos, like Immortal here. Beautiful hardback, beautiful paperback, epic historical fiction. You can check it out. I'll have a link in the description below. You know, just plug yourself, and the more people see it, eventually they may go on to buy it if they keep seeing it over and over again. That's exactly what happened to me with Abby Emmons. That's what happened with me with Bethany Adazada and other authors too. Like, I eventually cave because I can't resist the temptation, because I'm so curious, because I keep hearing about it. And that's how mainstream works. It's just the difference is mainstream people reach more because they have more money, more marketing, more popularity. But as an indie author, you can utilize that same method just in a smaller scale, but just keep marketing and keep promoting your books, even if it's not offering an instant return or an instant reader or an instant buy right now. Eventually it will snowball, hopefully, into readers and buys and sales and all that stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or other things about marketing your books that you want me to answer or touch or do a video on, anything that you're curious about. And if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you liked me talking about all the marketing and how to market a book, then check out my video I actually did about doing taxes as an author. There's a lot to it that you may not know, things that I've learned over the years that I didn't know until I figured it out for myself. So I can have it all in a video so that you don't have to struggle as much as I did. So check that out. You don't want to miss it.